Happy Sunday evening, fellas.
Thank you.
Happy Sunday, Commander. Happy Sunday, Glenn.
Happy Sunday to you both.
Welcome to another episode of the Scuttlebutt Podcast. Today we're talking with Glenn Smyly, who I met at the American Legion post here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Before we get started, I just want to remind everybody, hit the like, subscribe to YouTube, do all those things. Patreon, our Patreon members, thank you very much. If you're out there listening, please subscribe to our Patreon because that's how we can afford to get great guests like Glenn Smyly and everybody else. That's how we get our content out there by you generous folks. So I want to start off before we get to Glenn, I just want everybody to know that Chaps is in the closet right now and his phone is like 15%.
I'm coming to you live from Loudonville, Virginia, Ohio. Sorry. And I just officiated my 33rd wedding. So one of our comrades at our VFW. So I want to say congratulations to Hunter Stone King and his new bride, Yatunde from Nigeria.
Very awesome. Very awesome.
Congratulations.
Yes.
And I'm not drinking. I'm actually spitting, chewing tobacco into a champagne flute, which is horrible. If my mom knew I was doing this, she would ground me forever.
You're disgusting.
I am very disgusting.
I've talked about this project a couple times on the show, but it's moving along. I want to show a couple pictures that I took today. I was finally able to get out in my garage because the humidity has dropped considerably, and I was able to get this going. So I'm doing these yard shadows, and I'm going to be putting them in veterans' yards. I'm doing these as fundraising events to bring awareness to TSP and everything that we do. So another thing, like if you click on the links below and you hit donate to PayPal, what you're essentially doing is you're paying to have one of these put in a veteran's yard. This particular one right here is going to, I'm going to be doing a road trip here in the fall, and it's going to be going to the hills of Tennessee, East Tennessee, to our show sponsor, Jeffrey Sabins. This one has Jeffrey Sabins' name all over it. This one here is going to a Vietnam veteran in Kentucky. So it's cut out right now, but I still have to paint it and get the hardware to mount it. So the hard part is done.
I want one of those, man.
Amazing.
Calm down. I'll get to you.
Oh man, dude, those look awesome.
Yeah, so the Iwo Jima one is actually, I will mount a 6-foot flagpole on there, so it literally looks like they're hoisting the flag. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous when I'm done with it. So, like if you want to help out with this project, go ahead and click on the PayPal link and send us a few bucks. These are not cheap. Each one, just the board alone, is $70. So I think the Iwo Jima one costs roughly almost $200 by the time it's all said and done. But
wow, it looks nice, man.
It's definitely
beautiful job.
Thank you. I love doing it, and my goal is when I drive through my neighborhood, you'll be able to tell who's the veterans in my neighborhood because they will have one. But again, I have to do fundraising. So with that said, Mr. Smyly, how you doing, buddy?
Better than good today. It's really great to be with you guys.
Excellent. Yeah, we appreciate you coming on.
A lot, and I feel honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we're the ones that are honored. We love getting stories.
Hey, Glenn, this is definitely our honor on this side. Actually, in Ohio, it's a huge honor to see you.
Well, it's not every day you talk to somebody in a closet.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? In 30 minutes, I got to come out of the closet. So
Chaps is going to be coming out of the closet.
That's okay.
Dude, seriously, I'm going to get so much grief for that comment. It's not even funny.
Yes, you are. So, Mr. Smyly, why don't we start with high school? Like, what city, what town did you go to high school, and where'd you go to high school? What did you do while you were in high school?
I went to Palm Beach High School in West Palm Beach, Florida. I was
nice.
The last class that Palm Beach High had like 700 students, and then they broke it up into two high schools the next year. I played sports. I played baseball and football and was involved in all that. But I wasn't a very good student. I didn't stick to the books too much. But I did graduate from Palm Beach High. And then I went to community college, Palm Beach Community College for
PBCC, baby.
Yeah, the first term, and I was taking psychology, and the midterm test was 2 questions that you had to write out essay questions, and the lady didn't like my question number 2, and she totally gave me an F on that part of it. So I failed out, and I went back. I had been working at Winn-Dixie and as a 16-year-old on up, and then I had worked at Channel 5, the TV studio, to run the movies and commercials and all of that in West Palm Beach in Palm Beach for a year and a half. And then it was when Khrushchev wanted to put ICBMs on Cuba. And I was 20, and there was a draft, and I decided I better go ahead and choose what I wanted rather than wait for them to choose what they wanted. And so I joined the Air Force. And I can truly say it was one of the best choices that I made at that time in my life, because it got me off the street and out of the troubles that I was doing with alcohol and all that stuff. And it gave me purpose. I went from West Palm Beach on a bus to Miami Saturday night. Sunday, I flew on a plane to Lackland, to Texas. Spent 6 weeks in my boot camp there, and it was quite a shock. The first night, we had 5 fire drills. The first night, they come in beating on the garbage can lids. Fire drill, everybody out. 5 times. You just get to sleep. Still to this day, when 5 minutes before the alarm clock goes off, my feet are on the floor and I'm up and ready to go.
Man, I miss those days.
Oh, that was something. That was really something. And then the first parade that I went to was like the 3rd week into basic training, and they give you this book that you have to learn the chain of command. And so I had learned it. I studied that, so I knew what was going on there. And so we're at this parade, the very first parade out in the quadrant or whatever it was, and the big officer guy comes walking down, checking out everybody, and he gets to me and he stops right in front of me. And he says, "Airman, who is the Secretary of the Air Force?" And I said, "Sir, the Secretary of the Air Force is Major General William Bell, sir." He said, "Very good, Airman." And he went on down, and he never asked anyone else a question. Afterwards, the guys all came up and said, "Boy, I'm glad they didn't ask me that, because I didn't have the answer to that one." So
Yeah.
that afternoon, I got upgraded to squad leader on the 2nd floor. And because that guy wasn't doing such a good job, and I guess I'd done a good job with that answer. So I got a new group to work with, and I didn't mind doing all the latrine work, the GI parties, and the cooking and all that. I had done that at home for years. In my house, I kind of took over for a while when my mom was sick, and there were 7 kids and 2 adults in the 1,200-foot square home with 1 bathroom, and so I learned all that stuff. So it wasn't work for me. I just did it, and I'd be singing and doing it and all that. So the first night that I was up as squad leader, lights were out. It was after 9 o'clock. The lights went out, and it was really, really quiet. And a voice came out of the dark, and it said, "Smyly, sing us a song." So I thought, well, okay, what should I sing? And I sang them a song, and you could hear the silence afterwards. It's like everybody had gone to sleep while I was singing. The next day, they told me that their fear was gone. Their concern about their enlistment, what was going to happen to them, all of that was gone with that one song.
yeah.
Oh,
It was a very moving time.
Yes. So, you joined the Air Force. What did you do in the Air Force?
I was a Morse intercept operator. I went to Biloxi, Mississippi, Keesler Air Force Base, and did a 4-month training on how to, number one, learn how to type, which I still use in my life today. So they taught me how to type. And I learned to copy Morse code. It's an international language. It's understood throughout the world. It's dots and dashes instead of ones and zeros like we have now. And I learned the Morse code.
Do you still know it?
Did it? Did I did it? Da 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 did it da did.
yeah, man. Nice. Very nice.
I just said I love you in every language in the world.
Shut up. Say that again. Do that again, Glenn.
Did it? I. Did da did it? Da 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 did it da did. Love. Da 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 did da. You.
What? Wow, dude.
Every language around the world.
Yeah, bravo.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I was number one in my class, and I got a letter and a picture that I can't find of the officer of the school awarding me. I got a night off as an the last night of the class. I got off as an award for being number one in the class. And then I had my leave, and I was driving from Mississippi back to Florida, and it was in like June, and there was fireworks stores on the side of the road, and I decided I'd pick up some fireworks to take home with me. And I bought a box of those M80 cherry bombs. I'm sure you guys know what those sound like. And I bought a box of them, and I put them in my glove compartment, and I drove home. And a couple of weeks later, I opened the glove box and opened the box, and like a third of the cherry bombs were gone. And I thought, oh my gosh, that guy scammed me. He ripped me off. This wasn't a full box of cherry bombs. 30 years later, my younger brother, Ryan, told me a story. He said, remember those cherry bombs you had? I said, well, yeah. He said, well, I got in the car and I got in the glove box and I saw those and I took the cherry bombs. He said, I didn't take them all because then that would be too obvious. So I took a handful of them. And we lived in West Palm Beach. His father, my stepfather, was the police photographer for West Palm Beach. So he knew all the law enforcement and all of that. And so Riney told me that right off the shore of Lake Worth is Palm Beach, is Riviera Beach, is West Palm Beach. It's on this side. And there's an island called Peanut Island. And that's where and that's where all the kids would go to play and party and stuff. But at the other end of Peanut Island was the Coast Guard station, and it was chain link fence. You couldn't get into the Coast Guard area. And these guys are out drinking and stuff. And Riney had put the cherry bombs in a waterproof container. And they swam from the mainland over to the island, and they were partying and getting drunk. About 1 o'clock in the morning, these guys go over to the fence where the Coast Guard is, and the 5 of them light them up at the same time and hurl them over the fence and run like hell. Well, you would have think that you stepped on a beehive. There were guys with Jeeps and guns and searchlights. There were helicopters with searchlights. They chasing down anybody they could find. And my brother said that he saw them coming. So he laid down in the cul-de-sac and covered himself with palm fronds and went to sleep. They caught all the other guys. And then when he got up the next morning about 11 o'clock, he swam back over to the mainland, hitchhiked a ride home. And he's walking down the street and here's all these sheriff's cars and FBI and Coast Guard and all this military around the house. And he walks in like he doesn't know what's going on. He says, hey, guys, what's up? Well, he got the worst beating of his life after that. But,
You little scamps, you.
but what they didn't know was that President Kennedy and his wife Jackie were on vacation on their yacht, and the boat was parked at the Coast Guard station.
Oh man.
they were out for whoever was gone.
You think? Can't mess with the president, man.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciated him. I was on duty when he was assassinated, and we went to Red Alert, and it was not just us going Red Alert. The Chinese and the Russians and everybody. I mean, because nobody knew what happened or who was doing what to who.
Right. Yeah.
And that was a scary time for all of us. Was that. So
yeah, that was a crazy time. I was in Dallas a couple of years ago, and I went. You could drive right down the street, like where it all happened. They have it all like kind of like a museum now, type thing.
Yeah.
They also have my hometown, Dearborn, Michigan. They have a museum owned by Ford Motor Company. It's called like Greenfield Village Henry Ford Museum, and the presidential Lincoln that he was assassinated in is sitting in that.
Oh wow, room. That would be an interesting trip to take.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
So while I was in Misawa, it's on northern Honshu, since I had projection experience, I got a job at the base theater, and so I worked part-time as projectionist. We were on the day shifts and then mid shifts and then midnight shifts. So when I had time available, I'd go run all the movies on base, and then I had earned some income. And I was able to rent a little apartment downtown with a buddy, and we'd go down there for our parties. We'd go off base and have all the parties, and so that was pretty good.
Yeah.
I was in the security service and had a top secret clearance, so I can't talk a lot about what I did because it sent me to Leavenworth, but I didn't want that to happen.
I was going to ask you if you had clearance.
Yeah,
that job. I assumed you did.
Yeah, what we were doing was pretty classified, and I played football.
Did you intercept any cool messages?
Oh, all day long, and they couldn't hear each other. Those two guys sending code couldn't hear each other, and we're like in between, and we could hear both of them. And so it's like sitting and listening to two people arguing for hours. I can't hear you. Like, what you say? And we're hearing it all. But playing football, I got a hairline fracture on my wrist, so I had to have a cast, and I couldn't sit and type anymore. So instead of copying the Morse code, they put me out in the antenna field, and there was an antenna field, and I would sit there by myself in this little shack for 6 to 8 hours, and I would do the direction finding, which is today's equivalent of the GPS. You know, I would coordinate exactly where this guy is sitting, who's sending this code, and then I would send it back into the main group, and then they would take that and what was sent, and they knew who was talking to who. And we did that. I did that for 2 years in Japan. And then I finished that tour, and I got promoted to staff sergeant while I was there. And I had a 30-day leave, and then I went to Peshawar, Pakistan. Now that's two different operations, and it was really. Yeah. But on the way to Pakistan, India and Pakistan were at war, and Indians were dropping bombs on Peshawar, and so I got diverted to Turkey for 3 weeks, and I had a 3-week vacation in Turkey because I didn't have a duty assignment, and so I just enjoyed that. But then when all that hostilities were over, then I went on back to Pakistan. And again, I ran the movies there, and I played slow pitch softball. And I'm proud to say that I'm one of the world record holders in the longest slow pitch softball game.
Nice.
In the world. I have a newspaper article about it. It was supposed to be 72 hours. The teams were the dots and the dashes. And it was to last 72 hours. It went 435 innings.
Oh.
The dots had 552 runs, and the dashes had 487 runs.
Dang.
I was on the dashes, so we didn't win.
Sorry to interrupt, Glenn. I've got 1% left. Commander Fleek, I'm probably not going to be able to come back. But Glenn, you have a very interesting story. I love you. I love you, Commander Fleek. And I'm sorry. Hey, if you could finish this up, I'll make it up to you next week.
Oh, no problem.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to go get out of the closet right now.
Okay, now we know you're out of the closet. Bye.
See you, buddy.
There you go. Hey.
So, whoa, what's he doing? Let me kick him out. There you go. He's having issues. So,
it was a game that was supposed to last 72 hours, but the last 2 hours we had a monsoon rain and they had to call it. But I played the whole thing. Me and one other guy played the whole thing.
That was in Pakistan?
No, that was in Japan. It was a fundraiser. It was a fundraiser for the Lions for Operation Eyesight, they called it. And the big Japanese eye surgeon was sponsoring it and came and our trick 3 was the squad I was on, and it was all trick 3 players for 70 hours. We played softball. Guinness Book of Records.
Yeah, that's a long time, man.
Yeah.
5 hours is a long time.
Yeah.
So are you eligible for the VFW?
Yes, I am a member of 12206.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, Andrew talked me into it. I've been a member of the American Legion, both in Florida, post 108, and here, post 141. And I've really enjoyed it. It's been rewarding being around other guys that know some of this stuff and comradeship. And it's really been good for me.
Yeah, I think it's important to join these VSOs and be around people like people.
Well, the situation I have right now is that I'm in post 141 and we meet the third Thursday night of the month at 6:30. Right. And so does the VFW 12206 meet at the same time at a different place.
How do they meet the same Thursdays?
Third Thursday of the month.
Oh man, it is third Thursday.
Yeah. So I got to figure out maybe one go one month and one the other month like that.
Yeah. Commander Kitchen asked me if I would help out and be an officer at 141.
Oh, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, I told him I would, but I didn't realize it was the same exact night as the VFW.
I spilled the beans.
Yeah. I didn't put 2 and 2 together before I committed.
Oh, no.
Well, it's a good thing I'm not commander of 12206 anymore. That would have been a problem.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That would really stretch you too thin.
Yeah. So your website, Chuck, what do you got going on with your website?
Carapy, CAREAPY, carapy.com. I am celebrating my 50th year of facilitating self-help seminars, workshops, and retreats, 40 years with my wife, Barbara. Together, we've written and designed and developed and facilitated these courses throughout the country. And it's been a very rewarding opportunity. We've been blessed by being able to support thousands and thousands of people. And we recorded a lot of those courses and have edited them down, and they're now available online on our website. And they're in 20-minute audio segments like a reality show. It's like recorded the live workshops. People paid $500 to be in the Alivening weekend. I led one every month for 27 years, and sometimes 2 and 3. And we would start Thursday night. We'd bring in volunteers, and we'd buy all the groceries and clean the houses. People would open their houses to have the weekend there. And then on Friday night, we'd bring in a group of up to 20 people, and we would do the weekend, and we would take them back through their life to their birth to help them heal the mental, spiritual, and emotional damage caused by some of life's more challenging circumstances. And we just started one at a time, and then people wanted to come in, and they would call us. We never had to market or anything. People would call us to order or reserve a space for the weekend. And by the end of the weekend, they would be transformed. And they'd go home and people say, "What happened to you? You look so different." And they said, "Well, we did this thing called the Alivening Weekend." And so I recorded an entire audio recording of the text, the seminar portions of the weekend, and they're now available online. And I'm trying to get them into the VA and finding the right people to take them, because we have a course called Positive Parenting that Barbara wrote. She did it in schools and churches and in private facilities, making it better for children because their parents would learn how to deal with them. Dealing with teenagers is my favorite. That was a problem in my life. We have 6 children, 4 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren. In fact, we just had 2 twin girls 2 months ago that are great-grandchildren. So
wow,
we've done that. And so it's been a full-time opportunity for us to be able to help people, travel, serve God, serve people, love all, serve all.
Yeah, for sure. So how did you get into this? Are you a therapist?
No, we call what we do Carapy, Careapy, Carapy. We trademark the term because we're therapists. We're not therapists. We're not psychologists. We're not psychiatrists. We work with normal people with normal concerns. And we help them review their choices in life, their experiences in life, and reinterpret the outcome. We help them change the foundation all the way back to and including birth and being in the womb before we're born, where circumstances happened that caused people to make decisions about themselves and about their lives. And those decisions become self-fulfilling prophecies. I had a woman I worked with who experienced in one of our processes we call rebirthing. She experienced her birth and she was in their mother's womb, and her mom and dad had a fight. And her dad threw her mom across the room up against the wall. Now, this girl in this rebirthing re-experienced that. So when she came out, she said, "Mom, when you were pregnant with me, did you and Daddy have a fight? And he threw you up against the wall?" Her mother said, "Well, how would you know that? You were in the womb." She said, "Well, I'm doing this process in this weekend, this rebirthing thing, and I remembered." And her mother said, "Well, tell me this, was the doctor there when you were born?" And she said, "No, Ma, he never made it."
What?
The doctor didn't arrive in time. The baby was coming. They knocked her out. They knocked her mother out, and the baby was born while her mother was unconscious. And then they lied when they came back and said, "Oh, we got you. He got there just in time," they told her.
So,
hey, I'm back, guys. Sorry, I missed like 5 minutes of that. I'm so sorry, Glenn. This
That's
nice
right.
woman gave me a charger so I can continue the show. I told her I was a veteran. She said thank you, and she says thank you to you, Glenn, and to you too, Richard. So
yes,
Thank
we've
you.
got to give a shout out to the Mohican Castle in Loudonville, Ohio, because they just hooked up a brother.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back. It's good to see you.
So Glenn was just telling this crazy story about Alivening. So it's like how did she go back to relive this? Is this like so we've had other guests on that do like psychedelic drugs like DMT. Is it anything like that or
No. This is natural. It's breathing. It's if people want to know more about it, they can Google rebirthing. Started by Leonard Orr in the 70s, and that's when I was started in mind control in the 70s. And it's a process. And by breathing in a connected rhythm in the presence of someone who's cleared their own birth trauma, you suddenly start to have memories and pictures of events from the past that have been stuffed in there and are still affecting how we live our life today and how we experience our life today. So in this breathing process, all of it gets cleared out. I was given a book by a chiropractor that was called Rebirthing in the New Age back in 76, 77, somewhere around there. And it was by Leonard Orr and Sandra Ray, and they were describing this process. And I knew that was next for me. I hadn't read the book, but just from the name of it, I knew it was next for me. And in the back of the book were a list of people who could facilitate that process. And so there was one in Tampa and one in Miami. And I chose the one in Tampa, and I called her and I said, I just got this book. I haven't read it yet, but I need to do this process. I just feel I need to do this. She said, well, I'm going to California for 2 weeks. Can it wait till I get back? And I said, no, I got to do it now. She said, well, how about you come over Saturday night? I was in Pompano Beach, and she was in Tampa. And she says, how about you come over Saturday night, and we'll do it Sunday morning before I go to the airport. I said, that'll be great. She said, where will you stay? I said, I'll get a motel somewhere. She said, oh, no. She said, we have an extra bedroom in our home. We'll just come to our house. If we're not home, the key will be under the mat. Just come in, make yourself comfortable. And that's what I did. And I got there. They weren't home. Opened the door, went in, sat down, made myself at home. And the next morning, we did this process called rebirthing. Now, at that time, what she was doing was called wet rebirthing. And that's done in a hot tub with a snorkel. You put a snorkel in your mouth and nose clips on, and you go down underwater, and you breathe that same connected rhythm that you do in the dry rebirthing sessions. But it's much more powerful because it simulates being in the womb. And it takes you back to circumstances and events that are happening, what you're doing, what the doctors are doing, what the nurses are doing. Everybody is conscious about what's going on. And we make a decision, we take a stand about our life. Even in the womb before that, we've made decisions. I'm not wanted, I'm not lovable, nobody cares, I'm not good enough. Those decisions made in the midst of the emotion of the event become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that's what creates the circumstances in our life to be exactly the way they are and exactly the way they aren't. Now we look like we're victims. In fact, we're 100% responsible for creating these circumstances exactly the way they are and exactly the way they aren't. They create to give us attention, either negative attention or positive attention, and the universe doesn't care. You can take the positive out of the situation or you can take the negative. You can be depressed or you can be excited of what's next, what's coming next. It's your choice. It's all a choice. When we speak in the midst of emotion, we are empowered to create our life to be what we want it to be.
That's pretty deep.
Well, yeah, no, that's pretty. Actually, I know Glenn and I we actually had a phone call about this for probably about an hour, and it's a different modality, somewhat of what I've been accustomed to. I mean, 0 to 7, you are very susceptible to, you're being told what to do, up, down, left, right. You're bad. That's bad. Don't touch that stove. It's hot. And you get negative feelings will swell up, positive, negative. And you're right. I like that, how you said it's your choice. And that's the only thing. And that's really, it's quite great that you actually said that, because that's the only thing that we have power over is our choice.
Exactly. It's what we say about what they said. It's what we do based on what they did. It's our choice. And the key to healing is forgiveness. When we take responsibility, we're saying, I caused this to happen. I'm not the victim here. I caused them to behave this way towards me. I'm the source of, accountable for, creator of this event. What's my value, positive or negative? Is it worth it? No. Well, then I choose to take a different direction. We're 100% responsible. We're not our behavior, and we're not our story. We all have a story, and some of them are really amazing stories, and we all have behavior. We can change our story depending on who we're telling it to, and we can change our behavior on who we hang around with. 4 days we hang around with somebody, we're going to change and alter our behavior to match more with theirs. We can't change who we are. Who we are is the one having the behavior. Who we are is the one telling the story. And we change it. We can't change who we are. We are a divine, spiritual being, energy being that weighs 3/4 of an ounce. It's inhabiting this physical body that we created in partnership with God and our parents in agreement to come into this life for this experience. And I once had someone really close, that's really close to me, was praying and asking God, why are our friends having so much trouble? Why is all this going on? Would you like to know what God's answer was?
Yes.
God spoke to her and said, what if I sent you into the physical dimension for you having done such a great job in the spiritual dimensions, and this is your vacation? Are you having fun yet? So who we are doesn't die. It leaves the body. It goes back to wherever that is. It goes back to where all the other beings are there and chooses to come back into a different vehicle.
See, and that's where you lost me. Like when we were talking, that's you lost me right there. Everything else was good. I mean, it's great, and if this helps people, that's great.
Yeah.
I just, I need to do more research on this. We need to have more discussions on this, Glenn.
I'd love to. Love to.
And I more coffee, more red bicycle, more dinners. And I can get I could try and get my head around this. I mean, I've studied a lot of stuff growing up.
I appreciate that.
EMDR, immersion therapy, CBT, AA, the Stoic principles, just everything. And I don't know. It just I need to do more research. I'm good when it comes to Stoic. Say again.
I invite you to come do some sessions with me, just you and I.
Okay.
So that
yeah,
I don't try to talk people into this.
Is it going to be in a closet?
20% of the people are going to love this, that hear it. 20% of the people that hate it are going to hate it. They hate their life. They hate everything. They hate their wife, their job. They hate life. 60% we can enroll. 60% will be like you. Well, let me kind of investigate this. What if that is true? Let me see how would that fit for me if it is true? And those are the ones that we want to work with. 20%, we love working with them because they're so open and their heart is open. 20% they hate us.
No, I'll be totally honest with you. When you first called me up about this, I was very kind of skeptical. Probably part of that 20%. And I'm hearing it again, and it's very plausible. It is. And that's one thing. You can't disavow any modality of treatment just because it didn't work for this person, but it's not gonna. You can't shut the door on it at all. And because I remember in my conversation, I was very skeptical, and then towards the end, I was like, I kind of opened up a little bit, and that's what it's all about, is opening up to new ideas and not being so rigid and hating change, which a lot of people can learn from. I know change is hard, and it hurts, and growth is not comfortable at all in life. And yeah, we just what you're pumping out is I like it. I do. And we just need I need to talk to you more about it.
Thank you. Well, I'm available, and the thing about it is what we're both trying to help the veterans and work through the VA.
And that's and you know, and you're right. That's the most important part. It's not one modality is better than the other. They're all great.
Yeah. And I have a different set of tools than the ones that you've been through. Now, I'd be willing to
you do.
some of your tools, and I'll share my tools with you, and you take what works for you, and what doesn't, you just don't have to. I mean,
because that's exactly what we do in AA. You take what you want, leave the rest.
Yeah, right.
Just like what you said, and that's just fascinating. I'm very intrigued by this now.
Thank you. Well, we just are committed to serving people. We've served personally over 50,000 people. Our website has had 460,000 unique visitors and over 500,000 views. And on our website, we give 2 free courses. We give a Overcoming Depression course. It has 2 20-minute segments that we recorded live in a paid, where people paid to come to the seminar. And then we have meditations in these. And there's a money seminar. And the money seminar includes a regression back to the very first circumstance we ever had with money. Because what we said in that circumstance, it determines how money happens in our life after that. Would you like me to share my first one?
Sure.
When I was 5 years old, I found a $5 bill. And I was the wealthiest kid in town. It was on the sidewalk. And I took that $5 bill and I looked at it and I had a conversation with myself. Should I take this home and show it to my mother? Or should I walk up to the drugstore across the highway and buy me something? And in my 5-year-old wisdom, I said, I think I'm going to go buy me something. And I walked up the street and across the main highway into the drugstore. And I went through every toy in the place. And I selected a 2-gun cap gun holster set. And I paid for it with a $5 bill. And I'm
good choice.
Striding home, big Top Gun. When I got home and my mother saw those guns on me, she accused me of stealing them from the store. And I said, no, Ma, I found this $5 bill and I bought them. And you come with me, young man. And she grabbed my hand and marched me back up to that store. And there we are, standing in line, people in front, people behind. When it got to be our turn, she says, he stole these guns from your store and I'm bringing him back for you to discipline him. The guy said, no, lady, he paid for him with a $5 bill. On the way home, she accused me of stealing the $5 bill out of her pocketbook. And I said, in the midst of emotion, money sucks.
Yeah.
And that was my stand about money. And I had difficulty with it all the way through until I cleared it. Everyone has stands about everything, about relationship, about love, about sex, about travel, about all of it. We have decisions we've made in the midst of emotion that we forget, but are still operating like the wires in the wall. The electricity is coming through there, and we don't know it. So we have techniques and methods to complete all that, to clear all that out. It's like taking an internal bath.
It's very interesting. So I got some bad news in my neighborhood this weekend, and I want to. The reason I'm going to tell you this, first of all, I'm telling you this because I want everybody to pray for this family.
Absolutely.
Even if you don't believe in God, please just pray for this family. You might even have seen this in the news. She lives here. 7-year-old little girl lives here in my subdivision. She was swimming at like a rock quarry, and a teenager jumped off the cliff and landed right on her back, broke her back. The little girl sank to the bottom. She swam back up to the top. They pulled her out of the water, but she is. The doctor said that she will never walk again, and she's only 7 years old, and this just happened. So my question is, obviously the family is in a very bad state right now. The little girl is going to be transferred to Atlanta, Georgia on Thursday. So for something like that, what would you say to the parents of a child that's going through something like this?
That there is a purpose greater than we can see. There's some value here. There's some healing that can take place.
Yeah.
That we don't know the big picture. We don't know God's plan for us. So we have to surrender to the higher power to let it unfold. Now, I would have some suggestions. Before moving her anything, I would have her spend some time in hot water. In hot water while we all pray for her. And in the mind control program that I led for 4.5 years in Florida, we did prayer healing. We did subjective visualization and imagination. And I have had many people recover. It's not all of them, but many people have recovered from all kinds of diseases, from cancer, from blood diseases, all kinds of things have been healed. And it comes when we slow our brain frequency down to the alpha theta level. That's where healing takes place. That's where the dream level is. We taught people to consciously alter their brain frequency to the alpha theta level, visualize the person and what their condition is, and put in correction and pray and ask God to come in and heal this person. And I did 10 sessions at the Hope House in New Jersey with people who had AIDS and their caretakers. And I donated a 10-week series. A guy wound up on Monday night, the first night. He had been in the hospital with AIDS, and they had told him he had 24 hours to live. So he said, I'm not going to do that. And he got up and he walked out, and he wound up at the Hope House. And he wound up in that meeting that I happened to be starting that night. And within the 5th session, he no longer had AIDS. There's more to it that's going on that the conventional modalities don't know about and won't. It's like they've cornered the market that's given this medication. No, let's help the person recover, heal themselves. The physical body is never more than 30 days old. Why is it the way it is? Our thoughts, our judgments, our behaviors, our guilt, blame, shame, all of that is in the way of our healing. So I will pray for her, and we all will, and my wife will, and everyone we know. What's her name?
Sarah.
Sarah. Sarah's 7 years old, did you say?
I believe so. I've never met the family. I'm just hearing from my neighbors, so I'm just getting bits and pieces. So they reached out in the neighborhood Facebook group and asking for people to bring food to the family because obviously the mom and dad are in the hospital with the child and they have other children at home. So I told them, I say, hey, I love cooking, man. You just give me the word and I'll bring all the food right to you guys.
Okay.
So, but I think everything happens for a reason. I think 2 weeks ago or last month when I met you at the American Legion 141, I think God probably put us on this path together because now this little girl is in need. And here I am talking to you and I'm just thinking, oh my Lord, like everything's like coming full circle right now. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, this whole journey has been remarkable. To have a service disabled veteran certification for my small business. It's just like step by step by step. And it's been years coming. And now it's here. And now we're trying to give it to the VA and the veterans and give them huge discounts or whatever. And it's about serving, about contributing, about making a difference. I have so many stories of healings that that happened over these years. So when I share these, you either believe me or you don't, but
Yeah.
you can't make this stuff up.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
God bless
definitely
us, little
believe.
Sarah.
Yeah. Yes. You.
Well,
I'm gonna
we'll
pass this
definitely
on.
have to talk some more, Glenn.
I would look
Yeah.
forward to it, Andrew. You're a special person here. You know that.
Yeah, I'm special in
You
a
are.
lot of ways.
I'm inspired by you and all you're doing.
Yeah.
Hey, well, I'm inspired by anybody who wants to help veterans. Commander Fleek,
Yeah.
you, Jeff Sabins, Greg Pease,
There's a whole
Jason Connor.
long laundry list here in Middle Tennessee.
There is a huge list of people doing really good things in our community, and I'm happy to know at least 95% of them.
Yeah, great, great. I've just
Yeah.
met a few. Bob Masick is good. John Kitchen is good. Carl Brulin is good. We meet for breakfast at City Cafe on Friday mornings and hash things around.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna send this episode over to the little girl's family and have her watch. I mean, she's doing
please
one
do.
thing. I'm gonna fast forward.
Just let
to
them know that we're praying for positive results in this situation, that this little girl
Yeah,
can recover. And
obviously, I'll pray for her too.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
Commander.
yes,
Commander.
absolutely. Past Commander, yes. So, Andrew, I had a brain fart. The American Legion 141 reached out to me and asked me if I would help out and be in some sort of capacity, one of the officers. And I said, yeah, I probably could do that as long as I don't have to touch money, which is basically the same thing I told you, right? I don't want anything to do with post money. And they said, okay, but then come to find out it's the third Thursday, which is the same night as our meeting.
It's the same night as ours. Yeah, it's I know the commander. I know I mean, you're gonna have to choose. You're gonna have to choose, Commander. Do you want to come to VFW or do you want to go to American Legion 141? That's up to you.
I mean, I wish I could help them both out. I didn't realize.
I have a suggestion. We have a new community. We have a new community center. There's room for us both at the same place, and that we can move back and forth to get the meat of each one and enjoy supporting each other.
We have big plans for our post, though.
Yeah, we're. Yes. I mean, and Glenn, I'm on the board for that new center. I think we have a meeting tomorrow night.
Good.
It's doable. It's just our meetings are a little heavy, and the space in there for our meetings is a little
right.
It's a little iffy because we have like 30 guys at a meeting, and it's a little tight. And we get food. We actually get 2 rooms and a kitchen with our thing. But we can always have our house committee meetings at the Veterans Center. We have to obviously bring it up to a vote and change that. But yes, that is an option.
That will make it nicer for you that you don't have to yell so loud at that meeting the other night.
Well, it's actually the place where we meet. They have drop down screens. They've got microphones. It's actually and it's good for 150 people. So and they're giving it to us for a very, very low discounted rate.
Great.
And we can't really look that gift horse in the mouth.
Yeah. There's no way we could pass that up.
Well, I'll have to look to see how to make it work.
Yeah.
But you should.
When I was a commander of that post, I was very adamant that we stayed at the airport. When the veterans thing opened up, I was like, man,
the airport, they like us. We've been there since January, and we bring them business, so it's actually it's a symbiotic relationship that's working out pretty well.
Sounds like it's working for you. Great.
Yeah, it is.
But we will probably have some house committees there because we have less people at house committee meetings than we do regular meetings. So that is definitely an option.
Okay. Well, thank you for all you're doing to make that place work, because that was a lot of work getting that through and getting it handled and built.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, Bill Ketron, Mayor Ketron, past Mayor Ketron, he helped out with that a lot. And sorry, that's just one of the workers here. Hey, say hi. Say hi to folks.
Hey, buddy.
He's actually my driver, so yeah, I'm very fortunate. But no, yeah, man, I can't even remember what I was about to say. What was I saying?
You're talking about Mayor Ketron and the building.
Oh, yeah,
Mayor
yeah, Mayor Ketron. He helped out a great deal. He helped me out make Rutherford County a Purple Heart County, which, as of Thursday, there's a proclamation. Rutherford County is now a Purple Heart County.
Wow! Woo! Wow! Congratulations!
Yeah, it's awesome.
Mayor Ketron's a great man. He's one of my Freemason brothers, and he did all the veterans in Rutherford County a major solid, and he's going to get a nice award August 27th. So, yeah, he's done a lot of good stuff for veterans.
All right.
What's August 27th?
We're running at 5736, Captain.
Yeah, all right, we got to cut it short. You're in the closet anyways. You're waiting for your ride to go back to wherever the hell you got to go to.
Yeah. I want to go dance the Macarena.
Yes. So one last time, pray for Sarah that she walks again. Her family is having a tough go right now, as you can imagine. She has siblings and, a mother and father that love her very much, and a whole community that loves her very much. So we're definitely going to give her put some pray time in for her for sure, and send the family some food and whatever else I got to do. I'll make sure it happens. Glenn, I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on and sharing your story with us. It was very interesting.
Thank you.
And
yeah, thanks, Glenn.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, I'll tell you what, Glenn. Once you get Andrew in and you have a couple meetings with him, let's revisit this, and I want to get Andrew's perspective with you.
Great, love
to. No, that's a doable thing.
Yeah, we'd love to do that.
Excellent. All right. Well, we're gonna sign off. Have a good one, fellas. Thanks again.
Thank you all.
All right. Thanks for listening,
Thanks, guys.
everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. See you next Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Peace.